Hi, it's Sean McCann from Stan James. Welcome to a preview of the RBS Six Nations, which begins at the weekend. Fascinating, I must say, other than, I suppose Scotland as well, but the other four teams you can give major chances to. And France are our 13-8 favourites at Stan James, 9-4 then Ireland, 4's Wales and 9-2 England. France really, I think that they've had a couple of tipping lines, I believe, have put them up. I'm not convinced that 13-8 now represents any value whatsoever. They were murdered by New Zealand. Of course, they played really well against the Southern Hemisphere teams before that, but they were murdered on home soil, and there's still this wonderful air of vulnerability about the French rugby side. And I just think there's talk that Marc Livremont is preparing more for the 2011 World Cup maybe than the 2010 Six Nations, and as a result I think they're readily opposed. Fascinating, of course, as well, that Mathieu Bastareaud, who is a cousin of William Gallas, the Arsenal central defender, he's back in the fold. Wonderful story. We've all probably been there, absolutely bladdered. Went on tour with France in New Zealand during the summer, I think it was. And he injured himself falling over in his own hotel room, drunk, roaringly drunk. And the next day he got up and blamed that he'd been attacked by five people, got the police involved, had to apologise to the people of New Zealand. But wonderful story surrounding Mr. Bastareaud. But he's back in the fold, playing in the centre on Saturday for France. Just quickly go through England are giving up a 3-point start against Wales. This really is, I think, a fascinating market. This England, of course, so sterile in the autumn internationals before Christmas in 2010, and you just think with Delroy Armitage back playing full back that really this is a team not in Martin Johnson and coach Martin Johnson's image. It's almost as if that was such a sterile performance from that England team that this is looks much more fluid, bit more pace in the side. What will Johnny Wilkinson do? Will he give it outside? The drop goal, 4-6 that he drops a goal against Wales on Saturday with ourselves at Stan James. 11-10 he doesn't. I think the 11-10 might, because I think he's under pressure. I think Wilkinson's also under pressure to get the ball. Hugo Monyu, 4-1 favourite to be top England try scorer during the Six Nations. I think I really do think that is a fascinating England, despite the inexperience in the front row against Messrs Jenkins, Rees and Jones. I think that may be the key as well. I can see Wales winning the battle up front. Nick Easter coming back as well at number 8 for England as well. But I think it really is and it could be a very, very pivotal game. Remember, in Six Nations you've got 5 games. England will be very difficult to win. They've only got 2 home games, of course, one of which is Wales. They've got to get the momentum in that game. Just a couple of Ireland Grand Slam winners, of course, in 2009, unbeaten in 2009. Remember, they drew with Australia and beat South Africa. South Africa were ready to go home on that occasion. I think they're vulnerable as well, the Irish, but they would be favourites. I think the reason that they're 9-4 and the French are 13-8 is because of one reason alone. They play each other. Both of those teams have 3 of the 5 games at home, but that game, the pivotal game perhaps, is in Paris on this occasion. The Tinkerman, Marc Livremont, he again, I just do think that the French are vulnerable. England, as I say, Nick Easter, it's maybe a different philosophy for Martin Johnson. England are around about 9-2 shot with ourselves. Wales, glad to see, I think Lee Burns back. I thought that was an absurd decision personally. Mike Phillips will be a big blow. They're arguably the best number 9 in the world. He's out probably until week 3 for Wales. Wales, I don't know, Warren Gatlin and Sean Edwards, of course, Grand Slam wins in 2008. I just think that they could be, 4-1 Wales, they could be the dark horses. They would be indeed the team I would recommend at those prices. I prefer the 4s and 9-2 England and Wales rather than the 13-8 and 9-4. Scotland, they've been caught by this strange quote during the week from Marc Livremont, the French coach, that the Scottish are the All Blacks of the Northern Hemisphere. Well, that means they don't score many points. I can't see, other than, of course, they have the excellent Chris Patterson. Again, some people say the best goal kicker in the world. Some people probably say the best goal kicker in the world from around about 30 metres out, but maybe not as good in the long kicks. But statistically, I think they suggest from that Patterson's as good as anybody, but they just don't score enough points for me. Andy Robinson at the helm took over in the autumn, of course, former coach of England, former Bath player, and of course an England international, but I just think they will fall short. But I really do think it's a fascinating market. Where to stand, you'll be betting. Of course, in running, we'll have all sorts of markets on every team throughout the Six Nations. But just one for you. Wouldn't it be funny if Mathieu Bastareaud, of course, drunk in his hotel room, blamed it on the five All Black bullies, New Zealand bullies? Could it be that he is the sensation, or will it be, never know, Jonny Wilkinson, 4-6 to drop a goal against the Welsh, but willing to be pressured to get low with the ball, 11-10 not to. Fascinating series. Can't have the French at 13-8 despite 3 home games, and the enigmatic Marc Livermore in charge. Be lucky.